Welcome back to my YouTube channel, friends. It's good to see you again. If you're new here, make sure you stick around because today's story is something extraordinary. We're diving into one of the most fascinating tales ever whispered among collectors, historians, and dreamers alike. It's the unbelievable saga of a single, humble 1998 quarter-dollar coin that defied all odds and found itself thrust into the world spotlight with a value soaring to an eye-watering $274 million. Sit back, relax, and let yourself be swept away into this incredible journey of history, mystery, and fortune. The story begins in the bustling year of 1998, a time when the world was riding the high of a technology boom, and the United States Mint was steadily producing millions upon millions of coins. Denver's mint facility was no exception, churning out standard quarter dollars bearing the iconic eagle design on the reverse. But amidst the sea of ordinary, something extraordinary happened. It wasn't caught then, and it wasn't noticed for years. But hidden among the familiar faces of George Washington, somewhere deep in the circulation of America's daily commerce, a single coin existed that was unlike any other. This particular 1998 quarter wasn't just different, it was almost supernatural in its uniqueness. At first glance, it looked like any other quarter you might find jingling in your pocket. But under closer inspection, tiny anomalies began to appear. There were subtle differences in the strike, the sheen of the metal, and the weight itself. While typical quarters from that year were clad compositions, this one carried a secret hidden deep in its metallic heart. Legend has it that this coin was struck on a blank planchet intended for an experimental purpose. Some say it was a trial for a future collector's series, others whisper that it was a clandestine test for a new type of currency alloy. Whatever the reason, this rogue quarter slipped past the strict quality controls of the mint and began its long, almost magical journey into the everyday world. Years passed, and the coin changed hands countless times. It bought cups of coffee, rode on buses, dropped into vending machines, and hid under sofa cushions. Oblivious owners spent it without a second thought, unaware they were handling a fortune disguised as loose change. The coin's surfaces were nicked and worn, the edges dulled by years of casual handling, but the intrinsic anomaly remained untouched. Fast forward to 2012. A man named Samuel Whitaker, a retired Navy veteran with a penchant for metal detecting and coin collecting, was browsing through his loose change one rainy afternoon. He was sipping coffee, watching the gray drizzle paint streaks on his kitchen window, when he idly began flipping quarters into a small jar. That's when he noticed it. The coin seemed heavier, somehow different. It didn't ring the same when it struck the others. His curiosity piqued, Samuel retrieved his old magnifying glass and peered at it. First, he thought his aging eyes were playing tricks. The mint mark was crisp and clean, D for Denver. But there was something odd about the luster. The color didn't quite match other quarters. It had an almost ethereal glow, subtle but unmistakable. His heart began to race as he noted slight inconsistencies in the eagle's feathers and the spacing of the lettering. Samuel, no stranger to the thrill of rare finds, sensed he was onto something big. He took the quarter to a local coin dealer who, upon examination, blanched visibly. They agreed it warranted a professional evaluation. It was sent to the professional coin grading service, and the waiting began. Days dragged into weeks. Samuel wrestled with a rising sense of anticipation and dread. Finally, the call came. The experts were stunned. Initial tests showed the coin's composition was unlike anything standard. Further metallurgical analysis revealed it was struck on a highly experimental planchet, composed of a rare platinum-silver alloy that had never been used in general circulation. The alloy alone was worth a fortune. But that wasn't all. Due to a perfect storm of factors, historical significance, unique composition, flawless minting anomalies, and sheer luck, the value of the coin skyrocketed. News spread like wildfire. Collectors, museums, and even national treasuries scrambled to appraise its worth. Auctions buzzed with rumors. Bids started in the tens of millions. But the final recorded private sale shattered every expectation, closing at an astounding $274 million. The buyer, a reclusive billionaire with a deep passion for numismatics, kept their identity secret, fueling even more intrigue. The coin was whisked away into a vault, its fate sealed from the public eye. Some said it was placed under constant climate control to preserve its condition. Others claimed it was embedded in a custom-made, jewel-encrusted display case. No one truly knows. Samuel's life changed overnight. Media outlets hounded him. Strangers mailed letters begging for loans. Old friends he hadn't spoken to in decades suddenly remembered him. But Samuel remained remarkably grounded. He donated a sizable portion of his fortune to veterans' charities and built a state-of-the-art community center in his hometown. He traveled the world, quietly slipping into museums and auction houses, always smiling privately whenever he spotted someone marveling over rare coins, but the story doesn't end there. Whispers began to circulate that the 1998 D wasn't alone. After all, could it really be the only one? Some claim that 2 or 3 other experimental quarters were struck in Denver that year. Treasure hunters dusted off their old collections. People who'd never paid attention to their coins before started scrutinizing every quarter they handled. Entire communities formed online, dedicated solely to the hunt for another mythical 1998 D. Websites sprung up with detailed guides on spotting telltale signs of anomalies. Scammers tried their luck, pawning off fake versions. But no other coin ever surfaced that could match Samuel's in authenticity and provenance. Years later, a second wind blew through the world of numismatics. A young college student working part-time at a gas station found a suspiciously heavy quarter. Excitement mounted. Experts convened once more. Hopes were dashed, however, when the coin turned out to be a cleverly modified fake. Yet, the story rekindled the fire, and the hunt continues to this day. Meanwhile, Samuel occasionally granted quiet interviews. When asked if he thought another 1998 D platinum silver quarter would ever emerge, he would only smile mysteriously and say, "There's always hope. Keep looking." Collectors today revere the 1998 D quarter as not just a piece of metal, but as a symbol of chance, perseverance, and wonder. It reminds everyone that even in a world dominated by high technology and mass production, the rarest treasures can still hide in plain sight. Maybe in your pocket right now. Maybe under the seat of your car. Maybe lying forgotten in an old piggy bank, and so the legend grows. Auctions continue to feature the story as a highlight, reprinting Samuel's journey with each retelling. Children grow up hearing about the magical quarter that turned a rainy afternoon into a life-changing event. Authors weave it into novels, movies draw inspiration from it, and dreamers everywhere cling to the idea that fortune could smile on them next. Late at night, in countless homes around the world, people still spill their change onto kitchen tables, squinting at each quarter under flickering light, hoping, wondering, dreaming. Somewhere out there, perhaps another glimmering sliver of history waits to be found. Maybe it's already passed through 1,000 hands. Maybe it's waiting for someone like you, and that's the story for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, life has a funny way of surprising you when you least expect it. Keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next to stumble across a little piece of magic hiding in plain sight. Next 1994 quarter dollar coin. It's really great to have you here again, and if you're new, welcome for the very first time. You found a place where history, mystery, and sometimes even destiny all collide. Today, I have a story you won't believe. It's the astonishing, once-in-a-lifetime journey of a simple 1994 quarter dollar coin that ended up being valued at an absolutely staggering $594 million. That's right, a coin you could have once found in your spare change drawer somehow became the most valuable piece of currency in recorded history. Get comfortable, because this is a story you're going to want to hear from beginning to end. Our story takes us back to the early months of 1994. America was in an interesting place then, standing on the edge of a rapidly changing world. The internet was just starting to creep into everyday life, the economy was booming, and the U.S. Mint continued its decades-long tradition of producing billions of coins to fuel the bustling commerce of the nation. In Philadelphia, the Mint facility was working overtime, striking coins around the clock. Most of the coins that rolled off the presses were utterly unremarkable, just more pieces of change for parking meters, convenience store purchases, and laundry machines, but among those countless coins was one that would become the stuff of legends. It was born under strange conditions, though nobody at the time could have known it. Somehow, through a freak set of circumstances never fully explained, one particular quarter was struck using a planchet unlike any other. The quarter bore the familiar face of George Washington on the obverse and the proud eagle on the reverse, but there were microscopic differences that would only be noticed decades later. It wasn't just the surface details that set this coin apart. The metal itself was something otherworldly. Tests conducted years later would reveal that the composition of this quarter was not standard cupronickel. Instead, it was a hybrid metal alloy that included traces of rare earth elements and an extraordinarily small amount of antimatter containment alloy, a technology rumored to have been under secret government research in the early 90s. How such a material ended up in a U.S. mint facility remains one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in numismatic history. After its minting, the coin was unceremoniously dropped into the massive bins of other quarters and sent out into the world. It began its life of anonymity, passing from person to person, buying small items, riding in pockets, getting tossed into change jars, and even, at one point, ending up in a wishing fountain. For over 20 years, it was just another quarter in the ocean of American commerce. The discovery came almost by accident. In 2017, a young woman named Lila Davenport was helping her grandfather clean out his garage. Her grandfather, a retired history professor and lifelong coin enthusiast, had collected coins casually for decades but never seriously. While sorting through dusty boxes, Lila found an old coffee tin filled with random change. Most of it was pennies, nickels, and a few battered quarters. She almost threw the entire tin away, but something about the way one particular quarter gleamed caught her eye. It had a strange, almost glowing shimmer under the dusty beam of sunlight coming through the window. She set the quarter aside without thinking much of it and continued cleaning. Later that night, feeling a little bored, she pulled the quarter back out and examined it more carefully. There was something odd about the weight and the way it reflected the light. It didn't match any coin she had ever seen. On a whim, she posted a picture of it on a numismatics forum online. Within minutes, her post was flooded with responses. Some users claimed it was fake, others urged her to get it authenticated immediately. Intrigued and slightly skeptical, Lila sent the coin to a professional grading service. The initial response was disbelief. The technicians thought there must have been a mistake. They ran test after test, X-rayed the coin, analyzed its atomic structure, and even consulted external experts in metallurgy and materials science. Finally, after months of examination, they confirmed the truth: the coin was absolutely authentic, struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1994. But its material composition was unlike anything found in any other U.S. currency. Not only that, but microscopic inspections revealed a series of faint but deliberate etchings invisible to the naked eye, patterns that suggested a prototype or test of a technology far beyond its time. The numismatic world exploded. News outlets picked up the story. Experts speculated wildly. Some said it was the result of a top-secret government project. Others believed it might be evidence of early experimental currency tied to extraterrestrial research. Whatever its origin, the coin's value skyrocketed. Auction houses around the world clamored to host the sale. Offers came pouring in, starting in the hundreds of millions. Finally, after a heated bidding war that captivated the world's attention, the coin sold privately for an earth-shattering $594 million. The buyer remained anonymous but was rumored to be a consortium of tech billionaires fascinated by the coin's mysterious composition. Lila, now a multimillionaire many times over, used her windfall in remarkable ways. She funded scholarships, donated to scientific research, and opened a museum dedicated to rare and unusual historical artifacts. She also started a foundation to promote curiosity and learning among young people, forever grateful that a random afternoon of cleaning had changed her life forever. But the story doesn't end with the sale. As experts continued studying the coin, they uncovered even more bizarre secrets. Embedded within the coin's alloy was a series of nanostructures that seemed to resonate at specific frequencies. Some researchers proposed that the coin wasn't just a piece of money but a form of encoded data storage, perhaps containing knowledge not meant for human eyes yet. The implications were staggering. Governments took notice. Security agencies launched quiet investigations. Scientists demanded access. Meanwhile, conspiracy theorists had a field day, claiming the coin was a key to unlocking ancient alien technology or evidence of time travel experiments. Documentaries were filmed. Books were written. The world had never seen anything quite like it, and somewhere in the background, the Philadelphia Mint conducted its own internal investigation. Rumors leaked that a batch of experimental planchets had gone missing in the early 90s, covered up to avoid public panic. A few retired mint workers, speaking under conditions of anonymity, confirmed that strange shipments had arrived late at night, with no paperwork and no explanations. Theories swirled like autumn leaves in the wind. Some believed the coin was a fragment of a larger experiment, a singular survivor of a failed attempt to integrate futuristic materials into everyday commerce. Others whispered that it was a gift, or a warning, left intentionally where it might one day be found. Today, the 1994 P quarter is kept under intense security, visible only on rare occasions during private showings for a select few. Those who have seen it in person describe an almost magnetic quality, a feeling that the coin itself is aware, watching. Some say they heard faint humming when standing near it. Others dismiss these claims as imagination fueled by the coin's legend. Yet, nobody can deny the impact it has had. Collectors still search their change obsessively, dreaming of finding another. Museums list it as the most valuable and enigmatic coin in human history. Economists study it as an anomaly. Scientists wonder if it holds secrets yet undiscovered. And dreamers, countless dreamers, cling to the hope that magic still lingers in the most ordinary places. The legend of the 1994 P quarter lives on, a beacon for treasure hunters and believers. It reminds us that even in a world of mass production and digital everything, something truly unique can still slip through, unnoticed, waiting for the right person to find it. Maybe there are more coins out there, quietly waiting. Maybe another garage, another dusty box, holds a treasure beyond imagination. Maybe you'll be the one to find it, and that, my friends, is the unbelievable story for today. Thanks for coming back and spending this time with us. Never stop looking, never stop believing, and remember, sometimes history's greatest treasures are hiding in the most unexpected places.